It's time to take off your clothes, enjoy clothes-free living, and join us for Naked, Nudists, and Naturists.
Welcome to Naked, Nudists, and Naturist, the show that celebrates clothes-free living for all. I'm your host, Frank Stone.
And I'm your correspondent, Lisa Monroe, and I'll be reporting on all things within the Naturist community. So it's time to get naked and join us.
And enjoy clothes-free living on Naked, Nudists, and Naturists. Well, welcome in to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 10 today. Thank you for being with us. Clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. That's what we do here. We are naturists. We love being nude. We love being naked, but always appropriately so. We don't go in our front yard and do jumping jacks or trim trees. We don't jump out of bushes and a lot of other things we don't do because it's not really naturist activities. Being a naturist, being a nudist, living the clothes-free life, whatever you want to call it, there are different designations. Those who have tried it know exactly what I mean. Literally, as the clothes come off, everything else comes off too. The barriers that society has put on us. You can feel it. You might not totally be able to put it into words other than what I just said, but you can feel it's like, this is what I needed to do years ago. Why did I wait so long? I still get that feeling every single time. I do have to put clothes on occasion, as does every naturist, just about every naturist. You head to the store, you drive down the road, whatever. Sometimes you have to put clothes on. But as I've mentioned before, the moment my clothes go on, I immediately start planning how many minutes or hours it will be until I can get them off again. Clothes-free living for all the right reasons. You absolutely can't beat it. And I was thinking a little bit about that email we got from the couple that I read on last week's show. They enjoy listening to this show because they feel that they know us, they know me, they know Lisa Monroe. We've never met, but they feel like they know us because they know where we're coming from. Naturists, clothes-free living for all the right reasons, and they picture us sitting at the beach or sitting on a chair just having a conversation. And that's what this is all about. I have been to a number of textile beaches, a number of textile clubs. Always seems to be a little standoffish behavior, not quite open, not quite friendly, not rude, but not overly polite, and certainly not welcoming at all. As a man, you walk down the beach, you see two women in bikinis who look pretty attractive by society's standards. If you get within 10 or 20 feet of them, they'll make moves to either cover up or say, "Hey, you jerk, get away from us," or words to that effect. Have never seen that at a naturist club or a nude beach. Never. People go out of their way to come up to you and say, "Hey, haven't seen you before. Glad you're here. Hope you're having a great day. If you need anything, let me know." All of the barriers go away. We are nude in the studio, as I like to say, 25/8. We do a lot of other things here in the studio besides this show, things that have nothing to do with naturism. We're working all the time, and we're working all the time in the nude. That's just how we do things. It didn't start off that way. I've told a few people off air how this evolved. It evolved organically. It's a reasonably long story, but the request came from the employees. And they didn't know about my naturist background. I guess one of them did, but most of them did not. And, of course, I said, yeah, if that's how you guys want to work, just go right ahead. They were not hired to work in the nude. There are some places, I know we've talked to Stefan Deshane before, Bear Oaks Family Naturist Club near Toronto in Canada. It's a requirement. If you work there, you have to work in the nude. And he tells people that up front. You can't work in the nude, you can't work here. Well, that's not what we did here. Naturism had nothing to do with it. But now it does. Now, we don't have anyone to hire right now. All positions are filled. Everybody's doing well. Hopefully, we'll never have to hire anybody again because we like the team that we have in place. But if we do, you can bet in the job description, we work in the nude here. That's a requirement. because all barriers are removed, and it's the friendliest atmosphere I personally have ever been in a work environment. Everybody's happy, everybody's helpful, there's no office politics, there's no baloney. We just show up and get to work and help each other. And that's what we want for you too. Naturism, nudism, being naked, and living the clothes-free life for all of the right reasons. You can find us on Twitter, Naked Nudists and Naturists. Find us there. Say hello, follow us, all that good stuff. Jennifer Hill, our administrative assistant, often responds to your messages, but I respond there too, and I certainly do most of the posting and the liking and the reposting and all that good stuff. Lisa Monroe is not on Twitter with us. Maybe one of these days we'll get her there. But for now, you can reach her by email. You can reach me by email, nakedforevermore@gmail.com. It's nakedforevermore@gmail.com. She and I share the email. She doesn't check too often. I check all of the time. So if something comes in that's designated for her, I'll make sure she responds to you. Everything else, you'll probably get the response from me. You can leave a message for us on Spotify. You can also leave a message for us on our website. You guessed it, nakednudistandnaturists.com. And we give you a brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music. We're out there. Just type in Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, and this show will come up. And you can also like, follow, subscribe, all of those terms they use in the podcasting business. And you'll be alerted every time a new show hits the airwaves. Of course, you already know when that will be. It'll be 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time every single Saturday. But in case you forgot, you like, you follow, you subscribe, you'll get a notification. Hey, new show, Naked Nudists and Naturists, Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. You'll get that notification. And then you can tune in. Have your favorite lemonade, your favorite iced tea, your favorite snack, or a drink away from lemonade and iced tea, whatever you want. Have your clothes off and listen with us. On today's show, of course, we'll have the weekly report from Lisa Monroe, our weekly correspondent. We'll also have part 2 of my interview with Jules and Ian from the UK. Married couple, they're going to row 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean, coming up in December of 2025. Part 2 today. Now, at the end of last week's portion of the interview, we started to get into the world naked bike ride a little bit, and I suspected there was a story there that I hadn't heard before. When we interview people here, we can see each other on the screen. They were looking at each other, kind of snickering, kind of giggling, and I knew there was something there. I could see it in their eyes, so I asked about it, and you'll hear their answer right at the beginning of today's part 2 of my interview with Jules and Ian. Now, before we get to all of that, I want to read an email to you. This is the one we were going to read last week, but just ran out of time. This is from a gentleman by the name of Elmer, and he says, "Greetings, just found your podcast, episode 7. I'm writing to comment on the issue of equality for women choosing to exercise their right to go topless in public. Despite changes in many states' laws, prosecution, or rather persecution, still remains. Perhaps it is time for women to go about standing up for their rights in a different manner, employ a bit of reverse psychology, and demand men be forced to cover their nipples in public, or face citation for breach of the peace, public lewdness, or some other ridiculous charge arising from exposing a part of the body that has no sexual function. I certainly do not wish to see either man nor woman subjected to such oppression. However, the fact remains the level of success thus far in bringing about equal rights for women has failed. Thank you for your effort for presenting naturism in the manner as it should be, a wholesome and natural way of life. Yours naturally, Elmer." I like the way Elmer signed off. I might start using that. Yours naturally instead of sincerely or regards, just yours naturally, Frank. Yours naturally, in this case, Elmer. Now, can you imagine if that were the case? Governments came out, okay, men, no more taking your shirt off in public. You do, you're going to be arrested, just like the women. I think we would see a revolt like we've never seen before, or at least it's been a few hundred years since we've seen one like that. Maybe Elmer is onto something. But before we do that, can we just let the women take their tops off if that's what they want to do? They certainly don't have to. They can do whatever they want. That's the whole purpose of equality. What's good for one is good for the other. So we are big in supporting that entire movement. Men can go outside and take their shirts off. I could work outside all day in my yard, front, back, both sides, walk up and down the street, broad daylight, no shirt, no problem. A woman ducks out to put her dog outside and takes 10 seconds and scurries back in, but she's topless. Oh boy. Might get a letter, might get a visit from the authorities, might have a neighbor calling, hey, cover up your breasts, woman. What are you thinking? Not right, not fair. So we thank Elmer for his letter. I also have an article I want to share with you from Business Insider. They talked about different things you can do while nude. As a naturist, you've probably already thought of all these. You probably know about all these, and maybe you've tried every single one of them. But in case you haven't, here we go. Strip off naked for a yoga class. I can't remember the last time I worked out with any clothes on at all. I even once belonged to a gym. You could work out naked 4 to 6 a.m. I guess who was there between 4 and 6 a.m.? Yeah, you got it. That's when I went, and that's when I worked out. I've since moved far away from that place, but now I work out naked in my home. So naked yoga, absolutely. How can you stretch when you're wearing shirts and shorts and all of the nonsensical clothing items that society demands? So yes, naked yoga for sure. We've already talked about the World Naked Bike Ride. Show up, get your clothes off, start riding your bike. How about a naked race, a 5K, a 10K, a marathon, whatever? You don't have to be fast or even a good runner. Just get your clothes off and start running. They have two programs called Naked Boys Reading and Naked Girls Reading. You can take the stage and read to an audience in London at one of their hotels over there. And for Naked Girls Reading, they have readings across the U.S., Australia, and Europe. You get on stage, you take your clothes off, and you read to people. How about that? A topless book club? Sure, why not a naked book club? Let's get together and discuss a particular book with no clothes on. They have body painting festivals all over the place. You show up, you get your clothes off, you get your body painted, or you can paint somebody else. Go on a nude cruise. You show up, you got a couple thousand people, nobody with clothes on, other than the staff perhaps. I think that's a great way to go. As Dan Hawkins does, D.H. Jonathan, pose nude for an art class. And, of course, you have the nude beach, the nude spa, the nudist resort. Check them all out. Get your clothes off and enjoy clothes-free living for all of the right reasons. You're listening to Naked Nudists and Naturists, episode 10 today, and you can tell by the music coming in underneath. It's time to head out to our correspondent, Lisa Monroe. So let's welcome in our weekly correspondent out in the field, Lisa Monroe. Good morning, Lisa. How are you today?
Good morning, Frank. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing well. You're doing great, and you're naked.
Yeah,
I'm doing
absolutely
great, and I'm naked too. So we're in the right, proper costume for this show, aren't we?
All's right with the world.
That's right.
When you're naked.
That's
so,
right.
Yes, we are.
All right. Now, I have a surprise for you today, and we're going to
Oh.
tell our listeners this truly is a surprise. Lisa does not know what's coming.
Oh, no.
I have a bunch of questions for you. I have 30 altogether. We might not get to all 30. Then again, we might.
Okay.
But basically, things that you can do in life while you're naked. I took this from an article from Cosmopolitan magazine, of all things.
Oh, my.
It's called 30 Things You Absolutely Must Do Naked. I guess they have their own rules, so hopefully you've done all 30. If not, that's okay. And I'll weigh in as we go along as necessary. Okay, first one, Lisa Monroe. Cleaning your house. Have you ever cleaned your house while naked? Do you clean your house naked now?
Absolutely.
Oh,
Are you kidding? It's the best way to go.
Yeah.
Freedom of movement, as they say.
Oh, yeah.
Dusting away. No, yes.
Yeah, I can't imagine having clothes on while doing that. It just seems silly. Okay, number 2, here's an interesting one. Catching up on your emails. There's a lot of power in responding to your boss's request while you're naked. That's, like sticking in their face, except they're not there to see. But have you done that? Have you typed away on emails while naked?
I have definitely typed away on a lot of things while naked. Emails are one of them.
Okay. And you do a lot of writing as well.
Yes, I do.
You write while naked?
Yes.
Okay. All right, number 3, dance. The best way to dance like nobody is watching is to dance when no one is actually watching and do it naked. You dance around the house naked?
I dance all the time,
Good.
so yes, so far I'm doing okay here.
Organizing your closet kind of goes with cleaning to me, but they have it on the list. Now you can try things on without taking other things off first, is what they say. You ever organize your closet with no clothes on?
Well, I'm sure I have. I don't really remember doing that, but that's a great idea.
Yeah.
So, but I'm pretty sure I probably have. I've certainly gone in and searching for things
Yeah.
naked and probably moved things around. So I'm going to give that a
All
yes.
right, good enough. Number 5, this is a little redundant as well. Handwrite letters to friends. It says, "To whom it may concern, I'm naked. Let me tell you what's going on."
Ooh, that would be an interesting way to start off a comment. Gosh, handwriting. Oh, probably.
That's a lost art. A lot of people don't
I
do
was gonna
that
say it
anymore.
is
Yeah.
a lost art. It would
Yeah.
have to go back a long way
Yeah.
in order to for that. But
Okay.
I've certainly written things while naked by hand. So
All right. Good
sort
enough.
of yeah.
Number 6, cook or bake. And it says just be very careful around open flames. And as I like to say, bacon grease as well. Do you cook in the nude? Do you bake in the nude?
I have. It is sometimes a dangerous occupation, especially when you open the oven door.
Yeah. Oh, you got to be
But
careful.
there's nothing between you and the blast of heat.
Yeah.
But I have. I've certainly gotten up in the morning and fixed breakfast and coffee and that kind of thing before getting dressed. So absolutely.
Well, the way to justify it is, if you're cooking and there is an open flame and it catches your
Yeah.
clothes on fire, that could really be
Yeah.
bad.
This is very true. You could get burned
This
worse.
way, it's a quick burn and you're done, or you're more careful and you don't get burned at all.
This is true.
How about number 7, reading? Now, I know you read a lot. You read
Yes.
25 hours a day. You ever read while naked?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
These are easy.
Yeah. Here's an odd one. It involves playing the game of croquet. I haven't played croquet for
Oh,
25 years. Ever try playing croquet while your clothes are off?
no. I haven't played croquet for probably longer than 25 years. I think I might have been 8.
Yeah.
No,
Good
no
enough.
croquet.
All right.
Although that's something to look forward to. I'll put it on the
There you
list.
go. How about camping? You ever go camping with no clothes on?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, you want to expand on this, expound a little bit for us, or?
Well, I haven't been camping in a very, very long time
Right.
either, but I have gone camping. And yes, there's yes, I've been
Okay.
naked
Good
camping.
enough. 10 is a little strange to me. Order a pizza. You pick up the phone, order a pizza. You do it while you're naked, and it says, "This is a good idea no matter what." Now, it has nothing to do with the delivery of the pizza. You're just ordering a pizza. Yes, I want cheese and pepperoni or whatever while you're naked. I'm sure you've done that before.
Oh, absolutely I have. I mean, I've ordered enough pizzas. I know that's have to have occurred a few times,
All right.
but yes.
The next one is eating the pizza because ordering it while naked is just not enough.
Well, you open the door,
Yeah.
clothed,
Yeah.
you grab the pizza, you say thank you, you put it on the table, and you rip off the clothes,
There
and
you
then
go.
you have pizza. Just watch out for the cheese falling off of it when it's still hot.
All right, number 12, taking a course online. Learning is fundamental. Nudity is fun. Fun is part of fundamental or something like that. Look, just get naked and start learning is what they said.
I did take an online
Yeah,
course, and yes,
good
I
enough.
did that.
Good enough.
And
How,
yes,
how about swimming at night with no clothes on?
yes, I've done that too.
All right. How about thinking over your entire life, just ruminating on your life, how it's gone, how it's been, what's coming, all while clothes off?
Well, that's a very philosophical
Yeah.
thought. Probably over a cup of coffee in the morning. I'm not sure I've ever consciously sat back and gone, "Oh, I'm naked. I'm going to think about the ways of the world and
Good
what's
enough.
coming." But I think that we all have those moments of rumination. So probably yes.
All right. Here's one that I think should be mandatory. It certainly is for me. Paint. You ever paint while you're naked? Anything.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I had to do some stuff that was above my head,
Yeah.
and I remember I thought, you know what, I'm just going to take this top. I may have only been the top, but
Yeah.
definitely definitely, at least partially.
Yeah, it's a whole ease of movement thing. How about
Yeah.
binge watching a show on Netflix while naked?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
How about cleaning out your garage? I think more men clean out garages than women. But have you done it?
Well, I've been in the garage naked.
Yeah.
I don't know that I actually ever cleaned,
Yeah.
but run out to get something or
Yeah.
whatever. So, yeah.
I just cleaned my garage yesterday, but I
Uh
had
huh.
I had the door wide open, and so I had
Oh,
clothes on, and boy, was it
right.
hot! I was
Oh,
sweating
I
profusely.
bet.
It looked like I had been swimming, and I had not. But they say if you clean your garage while naked, your neighbors won't wander over and bother you. Maybe I should have tried that.
Oh, that's an idea. It
Here-
depends on who the neighbors are, I guess.
yeah. Here's a weird one. Convert all of your old CDs to digital and put them on your computer while naked. Ever done that? And if you haven't, you think you might someday.
No, well, I've taken CDs and put them onto like a media thing on the computer, but so I guess that counts.
That's
But
it.
I can't remember if I was naked or not. More than likely, if
Yeah.
it was in the last few years,
Yeah.
probably.
And especially if the day of the week ended with the letter Y, you probably were. All right.
Exactly. Perfect day for that.
How about 19? Exercise. You ever exercise while naked? You know
Oh,
that I do, but
yes.
you okay,
Yes.
good. Good.
Yes, you do. And
Good,
yes,
good,
I
good.
do.
All right. Along with painting, how about wallpapering a room while naked?
Now I have wallpapered, but usually someone's been there to help, so
Okay.
probably not.
Well, it says you're going to get messy, so why add to your pile of laundry? On that note, number 21, do your laundry while naked. Ever done that?
Yes, I have.
All right.
Sometimes out of necessity. Like, oh my God, I should have done that 2 days ago. But anyway,
All right. Do it yourself facials. Ever given yourself a facial with no clothes on?
sure.
Good. How about solving a jigsaw puzzle?
Hmm. Well, probably not. Well, I don't know. Maybe online.
Yeah.
Can't really remember. I've done a lot of them online, so I probably was.
Okay. That's good enough.
But my mother was the jigsaw person, so I used to do them with her. So no,
Yeah.
in
This
that
next
respect.
this next one I'll mention, but I won't ask you for an answer because I don't like this one. It says get really drunk because it's always fun and it's more fun without clothes. Well, we're not about drinking here, but
No, we are not.
i-
I am not.
if you
So
sip some wine, if you sip some iced tea, are you naked?
possibly.
Good. Uh,
Yes.
good. 25. Go to the beach. You ever been to the beach while naked? I know the answer to this, but go ahead.
Yes.
How about take a nap? You ever take a nap with no clothes
Oh,
on?
isn't that the best way to take a
That's
nap?
right. How about crocheting or sewing?
Well, I did learn how to crochet or to knit.
Mhm.
So, yes, probably.
How about learning to play an instrument or singing?
Well, singing, if it counts singing around the house, yes.
Yeah.
Haven't learned an instrument or played an instrument in a long time, but
Good enough. How about playing video games? I don't play video games, but if I did, I'd be naked. How about you?
well, sometimes I'll play a little idiot game on my
Yeah.
phone if I'm,
Yeah.
bored or waiting for something. So probably yeah.
All
The
right.
answer is yes.
All right.
I'm a little boring here, aren't
No, 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 no.
I? All yeses.
Not at all. And the last one, number 30, eating grapes. Although I guess eating anything. Do you eat your meals, breakfast, lunch, dinner, brunch, midnight snack with no clothes on?
I have certainly
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
'Cause-
Well, Lisa, I think you qualify as a naturist. You basically
I
do
think I
everything naked.
might
Yeah. All right.
qualify as something, and I'm hoping it's a naturist.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, definitely so. Maybe our listeners can weigh in. Do you think Lisa Monroe is a naturist based on her answers to these 30 questions? Let us know. And the email nakedforevermore@gmail.com. I can't wait for the responses. How about you?
Oh, I would love to hear the responses to that.
All right, our weekly correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Always fun to have you with us. You going to promise to stay naked, clothes free the rest of the day and into tomorrow?
I will if you will.
Oh, you know I will.
I
We'll
do.
do it together.
So, absolutely.
All right, our weekly correspondent, Lisa Monroe. Lisa, go out there and have a great day. Let's talk soon.
Okay, Frank, take care.
All right, thank
Bye.
you. You too. Bye. What a joy to have on this show. It brings an energy, brings a happiness to everybody. Lisa Monroe, our weekly correspondent. And send your emails in. What do you think about her take there on those items? Is she a real naturist? Well, I can tell you the answer, yes. But we want to hear your responses too. And you can send us an email, nakedforevermore@gmail.com. You're listening to Naked, Nudists, and Naturists, episode 10 today. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. You can find us on Amazon Music, Google Podcasts, and of course our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com. And we're also on Twitter. So find us, write to us, tell us what you think. Tell us what you want to hear more of, and we appreciate you being with us because we do this for you. And by you listening and writing to us, you're doing that for us. It's a totally accepting, a loving community, the naturism community. So thank you for being with us. Naked Nudist Naturist, episode 10 today. Now let's head to part 2 of my interview with the terrific Jules and Ian, getting ready to go on a 3,000-mile rowing excursion in December of 2025. So let's talk to them right now. Part 2 with Jules and Ian. Well, it sounds like there might be a story there. What's going on? What did I miss here?
So there are a couple who are called the Free Wilders.
Okay.
And they did a naked bike ride from John O'Groats to Land's End.
So top to bottom.
Wow. Okay.
And their story is amazing. You need to speak to them and just get their story. They are absolutely fantastic.
They're just gorgeous.
And we met them just a week or so ago, and they are amazing. They're just amazing, and they've got another naked ride coming up, and they do it all on a tandem, so they stay together, and it works fantastically well. And they've got a new tandem now, but they still have their old one, and we might be getting their old one.
All right.
Because we've just thought it just sounded amazing.
I've always wanted a tandem. I've always wanted to go on one, and when I had to go on one, I had to go on the back of it's Colin and Sadie, and I had to back with Colin driving it at the front, and I just loved it. So I was like, "Can we have a tandem?"
And mentioned it to Colin, and Colin was like, "Well, I've still got the old one. It's in bits at the minute. If you want to come up, we'll put it together." Together.
Yeah, right.
And there's no reason why you couldn't go away with a tandem. So it looks
Watch
like
this space.
Now, they've already had that event in the UK, right? That's already passed, or is it still coming? Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Well, what's it like life as a naturist in the UK? In terms of being naked outside, can you just walk out your front door naked, or are there laws and rules against that? You got to be careful. How is it then?
So the laws in our favour. However, it's public perception and that kind of thing, which is awkward and difficult. Yeah. It's cold as well. Yeah. A lot of the time it's cold. Yeah. Which kind of draws away a bit of the attraction of it. But we do have, as BN, British Naturism, they've got a whole legal side that are set up to help educate and to help should you find yourself being questioned or confronted whilst being naked. Okay. The main thing is that what you're doing isn't being done to cause offence or upset, right? And as long as you're not having sex in public, right? It's perfectly legal.
Oh, good. Okay. But somebody could say, "Hey, the guy down the road is always walking around his house with no clothes on. Can we put a stop to that?" And if they complain, you might get a visit from somebody saying, "You might want to be more careful." Or am I fairly on track there?
Yeah, I don't know.
You may have a visit from the local authorities. Why are you doing this, or are you aware of this? To which you can say, yes, I'm fully aware. I'm not doing it for offence. I'm doing it. It's my own home, okay. And I don't. Yeah, I'm not going outside when the kids are on the way to school or anything like that. I don't want to cause offence. Right. But while I am within my own property, I am perfectly entitled to dress appropriately for myself.
Good.
So for Colin and Sadie, they had who did the tandem bike ride. They had a couple of issues in Scotland, didn't they? Mm. And Scotland has got some slightly different rules, and they feel like they've had a change of rules, so that there's kind of gone an email gone round to all the constabularies saying that actually we should take a leaf out of the English law and just let these people ride naked because they're not harming anybody. And so they feel like they've done a small part of making a little bit of change in Scotland, which is amazing.
That's great. Well, you know what I've noticed? Now, I've not participated in the World Naked Bike Ride, not yet anyway, because every time they seem to have one, I seem to be about 3 or 4 hours away. But one of these days, but one thing I've noticed is, if people complain about there's a bunch of naked people riding through our city, my question would be, then why did you show up to watch? They always have big crowds there, it seems like. Before the race, during the race, and after the race, it seems to always end in a park setting where people are just walking around, drinking tea or water, and they're all naked. Only some of them are not. They showed up and they kept their clothes on, but they're enjoying it. It's like, well, what are you complaining about then? You seem to be having fun. So, one of those things. Now, before we get into your whole rowing thing, we're talking to Jules and Ian today, and they are from the UK. Got a big rowing thing coming up. We're going to get all into that. Jules, I want to circle back to your naked aerobics thing. So the whole pandemic shut your business down, and some other issues you were going through. And so you're still doing that, right? Or you're still yoga online and exercise, whether it's for groups or individuals. Tell us about that.
Not yoga. So there's another lady that does the yoga.
Okay.
So I teach, it's called GrooveX Flow. So I buy into a program that it gives me all the sort of the activities to teach. And there's a sort of high intensity one with weights. So I like baby weights, lots of repetition. There's a beautiful flowing one with gorgeous music, which is a combination of functional movement and dance and balancing mobility. And then there's more fun sort of 70s, 80s dance style music. So that's quite hilarious. A bit of disco lights and John Travolta poses and things like that. So that's just more fun. There was one with sticks as well, so like drumsticks that I found a little bit too intense for Naturists, so we dropped that one.
Okay.
But it is live. So just recently, in the last couple of months, I've put it on demand as well, so people can pay a subscription. So if they can't attend the Zoom classes because they're back at work, which we found participation did drop off when people started to go back to work again. So I've done it, recorded the classes, put them online, and so every week there's a new class to enjoy, and you can look back at all the old ones as well. But we also put our ocean rowing journey on there as well, so it's helping to fund that, so people can learn the real us, they can message us, they can see more of the photos we take from shoots. So we might put one of the photos on Twitter, but then all the rest of the silly ones and the outtakes all go on Patreon as well. So that's great to be involved with, and any support is going straight towards our boat and shipping fees and all sorts of things we have to pay for.
Now, when you do these classes, initially, are they live online? So people actually have to be there at a appointed time and take the class?
Yeah, so it's 9:30 Monday, Wednesday, Friday, English time. But anybody can join anywhere in the world if you want to. There's an American guy that gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning to join some of the classes. Yeah.
Imagine an American guy getting up at 4 in the morning.
I know.
I think there are 2 of us all together. It's great to hear. All right, let's get into the whole rowing thing now. For a lot of reasons, you can explain all of this to me and to our listeners. In December of 2025, you're going to take a 3,000-mile journey and row, and not take a cruise ship or a plane. You're going to row across the Atlantic Ocean. Take it from there. What's going on? How did it come to be? And how are things going?
So I put a team together back, and that team didn't happen. And then I put another team together with an famous actor in the UK, and I thought that would be a goer, and that just fell apart as well. And that was in the midst of getting together with Ian, and Ian said, well, I'll join the team, make it a 4, and we can make that happen. And then that didn't really work. So then I said, well, I left that team. I decided it would be better leaving that team. And how serious were you about rowing an ocean?
So, and that's where it kind of the actual team started. But my story started 2 years earlier. 3 years earlier. Okay. So I have a friend who rowed the Pacific Ocean, and she came back, and it was very much a case of, Ian, you need to row an ocean.
Wow.
It will change your life. It will change perspective. It will give you so much spiritually, mentally and physically, you'll just be a different person. And I went, great idea, love the idea, but I cannot think of anybody that I could sit with in like 25 feet of for a number of weeks. I can't think of one person I could sit within 25 feet of for a number of days. And I love my friend dearly, but even she would not be somebody I could spend that much time with. And she was like, yeah, I understand that, but honestly, you need to do this. You need to do this. And she had a documentary made, and a year after she got back, it was on. She had a special screening, and Jules came to watch that, and that's when me and Jules met for the first time.
Okay.
So we got together because of this ocean rowing idea that Jules had. My friend had already done it, and we just chatted for 2 years, and then we went for our walk, and then we had the first day, we had the second, we had a few dates, and within about 10 days, her eldest brought home COVID.
Yeah.
And that was the time when you had to go into serious lockdown isolation.
Yeah.
So we had a week of that, and during that first week, Jules then got COVID. So then that extended it that bit longer, and then her youngest got it, and I got it. So we had 3 weeks of COVID.
Oh, wow.
And partway through that, I went, you know what? I found somebody that I can bear to be in close proximity to for a number of weeks without wanting to throw myself into the river, which is just outside the front door, and actually enjoyed the time we had.
Yeah.
So
great.
that's when Jules was having issues with the team she was with at the time.
Right.
And didn't feel supported by them, didn't feel that the others were showing the commitment that was needed with regards to training. Because it was a famous actor, there was so much bureaucracy before they could release any posts on social media. Whilst the team had a name, it didn't really have a website or a logo.
Right.
And all these things were just making Jules feel really anxious, and it was working against her. And that's when Jules suggested that I join the team.
Okay.
Because I'd said yes, I think I could do it. And the team did exactly what Jules expected, which was not reply. They didn't say yes, that's a great idea, but they also didn't say no, we don't like the idea of having a fourth member of the team. Just nothing. Which is when Jules went, right, that's it, I'm not having any, I'm just not feeling supported, so I'm having to pull out of the team.
Right.
Anyway, the bonus was the actor did do the race with 4 other guys.
Wow.
And they had a wonderful crossing. I haven't spoken to him since, but I did speak to his wife, who's also a famous actress. And so they did get to go. The lady didn't get to go. She was going through a messy divorce at the time, so she didn't.
Yeah.
But 5 guys on a boat.
5 Scottish guys.
5 Scottish guys, yeah. So all from his local rowing team. So I'm glad he got to go. So it's positive on that.
Yes, but it was just that the team was a difficult situation. The people running the team weren't great. But when we put our team, once we said yes, we're going to do this as a pair. Within 6 hours, 8 hours, we had a team name, we had a logo sorted, we had a website set up in the simplest form, and we were on it because we were under the same roof. We've got the same drive, the same goal in mind.
Right.
It was just there. It was simple. And we still feel that we still, when we talk about what our aim is for the actual challenge itself, we have the same goals still, which is the first one is to get across the ocean safely.
Right.
The second is to be still talking to one another when we get across the ocean. The third will be to make the most of the crossing. And then the fourth is if there is a chance of having a record, then we will pull out all the stops to do that.
Wow.
But that's not the priority for us. The priority is get across safely and together.
Now, when you say set the record in terms of time, in terms of what are you looking at there?
Yeah, so there's a mixed pairs record,
Okay.
but there's different boat classes. So there's a fast boat, a race class boat, which are more modern, and slip through the water and are a bit lighter, and a bit more windage as well. So they catch the wind. Some people call them blowy boats. Um, Ours is not a boat like that. So we got the boat on the 1st of June. She's quite new to us. She's done 5 crossings and she's a slow boat. She's a pure class boat, which means the traditionalists in ocean rowing will be very happy, including Ian's friend Kaz, because she's a traditionalist.
Yeah.
So you actually row the ocean instead of being blown across.
Yeah.
Which makes it a little bit harder, especially as a pair, because there's only 2 of us to do all the work. But it means it will be deemed as a proper crossing. So
by traditionalists.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. We got to please them as well. So you're just taking the one boat. This isn't a team of 50 boats or 100 boats. It's just the one boat.
So one boat for us, and you have to not leave it. You can leave it to clean the bottom, but you have to be attached to it. You can't take anything support-wise from anybody else. Otherwise, it's deemed as a supported crossing.
I didn't know.
So we want an unsupported row. There is 2 yachts that will accompany the fleet. There might be 40 other boats, from solos, pairs, trios, 4s and 5s, and any mixture of men, women, and mixed as well. And as long as there's more than 5 of a group of people, so if there's 5 mixed pairs, there'd then be a prize for that group if you're in the same class. So it depends whether there'll be a race for us. We don't know, but there's sometimes mini races within races as well. So there'll be like, we might have another mixed couple in our race, and it'd be sort of like you'll be jostling position. There's a race on at the minute. There's the inaugural Pacific race, organised by the world's toughest row again. And there's a couple of races within races. There was a race between 2 4s at the start, and there's a race between 2 trio female crews. They're like this. And there's also a race between 2 pairs, mixed pairs, and they're doing that at the back. So, races within races.
Yeah.
Well, what do you do for, and I'm just asking the logical questions as a guy who doesn't row, so I don't know the answers to this, and I'm guessing a lot of our listeners don't either. But what do you do for food and drink and sleep? And I guess I'll just mention that even going to the bathroom. What do you guys do for that on a rowboat?
Well, we'll start with the last one, because that's really simple. Right. The bathroom consists of 2 buckets. One for all the dirty things and one for all the clean things. So if you want to wash, you will use one bucket and you don't get the 2 mixed up. Right. For all of the toileting, you use the second bucket. It goes over the side. You rinse it in the sea, and it's then ready for the next requirement. Okay, that's really simple. Where even things like for wiping, we'll have wipes for the body to give ourselves a bit of a clean. They get saved then, so that if you've done the your morning ablutions and you can wipe, you have to. We're not allowed to throw anything away unless it is truly biodegradable. Okay. So then it has to. If it's not a biodegradable wipe, ours will be. Then it would have to go into a bag or a container and be saved. Okay. And checked when we get to the other side.
Yeah, nothing can go over unless it's accidental. It's washed over by accident or something. So all our food wrappers have to be saved.
And accounted for.
So food-wise, we take dehydrated pouches and then rehydrate them either with hot water if you can, if it's safe to, or if the seas are too big, then you rehydrate them with cold water. And it might take longer, it might take 3 or 4 hours to rehydrate, but they still taste the same. Yeah. And then you've got snacks as well. So snack packs are really important for motivation. Also, if you're feeling seasick, you might not fancy a calorie dense meal. And so you eat junk basically just to get the calories in.
Yeah. Well, how long do you anticipate this trip will take? And I don't mean record setting, just in general, what's the average time to go 3,000 miles across the Atlantic Ocean?
So the record for the mixed pair is 43 days. Okay. That was with the fast boat. So that sort of sets that one. Our boat's been across 5 times, and her average is 53 days.
Okay. However, that is with 6 foot tall men. Yeah. And I'm only 5'8". Okay. Jules isn't a man. And so we really are at odds with that. The only advantage we've got is by being lighter, we have to carry less food or less calories.
Mhm.
So the boat will be slightly lighter when we set off,
Okay.
but we're having to do all the work ourselves, which will be tougher because we're smaller.
Okay, well, that was my main question because the rowboats I'm familiar with, you have enough room for the rowers, and that's basically it. So how do you have all this room for all of this food for 40, 50 days or whatever?
Yeah, she's about a metre and a half wide, isn't she? 6 foot wide?
Yeah.
Six
Yeah.
foot wide
Okay.
by 22 foot long. And she's got a big cabin at the stern to sleep in. So if you imagine if you lay down on the floor shoulder to shoulder and feet to feet, that's about the size of the cabin.
Okay.
And then you can just about sit up if you're not too tall on the torso.
Yeah.
The bow cabin in our boat, some boats have another cabin, but our bow cabin is mainly storage. In fact, I went to get in it yesterday and I was like, no, that's too coffin-like for me. You're going to have to go in.
Yeah.
But that's storage. So like a spare rudder, spare, the anchor going there, the parachute anchor,
Okay.
survival suits, big things that won't fit in other lockers.
All right.
And then underneath that and along the actual deck, there are small containers built into the boat itself, into the hull itself, with tops on, Anderson tops. So they screw on and they're airtight. So that's where we'll put the food and and some water, which acts as ballast and also emergency water for us.
So water-wise, we have two desalination machines. So one electric, so it runs off the solar panels via the batteries, and then we've got a spare. So if we have cloudy weather or something breaks with the electrics or the water maker breaks, then we've got a hand pump. So you literally have to hand pump slowly, and it drips out the water the other end. So you spend as many hours pumping water to survive as you probably are rowing.
Now, a lot of people, when they travel, let's say they're traveling by car, they'll go X number of miles and then they'll pull off for the night at a hotel, maybe a nice restaurant, get refreshed and start the next morning. Well, I'm guessing when you row across the Atlantic Ocean, there are no hotels or nice restaurants, are there? You're just basically go, go, go until you get there.
No, it is just we just have somebody on the oars at all times, and it's generally speaking, we look at 2 hours on, 2 hours off the oars, and it sounds like you get 2 hours rest every 2 hours, but you don't, because during that period you have to check the chart plotting to make sure that we're in the right place and we're heading the right direction. You need to take on some calories, so you need to start prepping your food or eating your food. We need to clean the solar panels, because if they're not clean, then the batteries aren't being charged, and then we'll lose our chart plotters, the GPS recording, the water maker, as we say, our radio for communication, the power for the sat phones, everything like that is so reliant on us just maintaining the boat while we're not rowing. And then there's also, once every 3 or 4 days, we'll have to go over the side. One of us will have to go over the side and clean the bottom of the boat to make sure that we've not got any barnacles or any weed that's actually adhered to the base of the boat and is slowing us down. We do currently have, or we're just in the process of removing some anti-foul. So it's a copper-based paint which stops anything wanting to stick to the boat. But we just feel that that's not good enough, because it does effectively poison them, and that's what stops them sticking. Right. So we want that off, and that's been the big thing since we got the boat. So yeah, there's not a lot of time for sleep and for rest. What we'll probably do, and we don't know until we're actually out there, is in the very late hours, so from maybe 11 o'clock through to 5 o'clock in the morning, something like that, we'll do 3-hour shifts to give that little bit longer for resting. And maybe in the day, though, at the hottest point of the day, so from 11 till 1 or 11 till 3, we'll just go on to single hour shifts. So we do 1 hour on the oars, 1 hour off, 1 hour on, 1 hour off because of the heat of the sun. But it will just depend very much on the time we're making and the weather, whether or not that's how we actually go with it.
Okay. A couple last questions for you then. There is a naturism / naked / nudist element to all this. There will be times during the row where you'll have no clothes on. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's nobody else to say not.
That's right.
It's one of those things which has become almost folklore within ocean rowing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Okay. People row naked, at least for part of it,
Right.
or they'll go over the side when they go to clean the boat. They'll do that naked, whatever. And we understand why, being naturists.
Right.
They perhaps don't, because it won't be something they've thought about before.
Right.
But it's discouraged a little bit, only because of the effects of the sun. So we are encouraged to use UV protection clothing as much as possible.
Yeah.
And what Jules' idea for us, and I'm in agreement with it 100%, is that probably once it starts to warm up in the morning, so maybe from 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, something like that, we will be rowing naked until it's getting close to the heat of the day. So midday-ish until 3 maybe, we'll have to cover up to protect ourselves.
Yeah.
And then once it starts to cool in the afternoon, we'll go naked again until the evening comes in and it starts to cool down again. So that's our plan.
Okay.
But it works like that. Weather can be funny. So the
Yeah.
Pacific crossing at the minute is continuously cloudy, and they've not got enough clothes to keep them warm.
Yeah, right.
And now it's gone super hot, so you can't tell what the weather's going to be like. But
Right.
yes, would love to.
That's
yeah,
that's the hope.
love
Right.
to arrive in Antigua, not naked because that would be frowned upon, but with a nice white, nice sports bra, with a nice no straps.
Right.
Lines.
Yeah. Well, what's your starting point for the trip, and what's your ending point?
So La Gomera in the Canary Islands.
Okay.
So Spanish islands just off Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go south a bit, and then end in Antigua.
Okay. And this comes up December of 2025. That's when you start? Is that right?
Yeah.
We actually start on Jules' birthday. The race always starts on the 12th of December.
All right.
So it's always a good celebration. And it will be the last time that Jules will probably eat fresh fruit for what could be 6.5 to 10 weeks.
All right. Now, before we let you go, tell our listeners how they can find you, how they can support you. You obviously have to raise money for the trip itself, because you're not going to be driving to work every day while you're rowing a boat in the Atlantic Ocean. But you're also trying to raise money for charity. We'll get to that in a minute. But how can people find you, and how can they support you? Put your website out there, your Twitter feed, whatever you want to do.
Yeah, so we've got a Naturist platform on Twitter, which is 2 Naturists. That's quite simple. Our website is www.strongertogether.co.uk, and that's a together with a TWO, because there's 2 of us.
Yeah.
And then you can find all our Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, YouTube. They're all available on the website.
What are you looking to do in terms of charity, raising money for that?
Well, first of all, we need to get to the start line before we can raise money to get to for charity. We need to get to the start line. It's about £100,000 to get to the start line.
Okay.
Our second-hand boat was 25 grand.
Wow.
The shipping fees are 15 grand. Food is 6 grand. And it just adds up. So like new equipment we might need, and there's another 10 to 15 grand. The paint alone is £1,000. That's our next project, things new paint.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just endless, and you can't self-fund it all. It's just impossible, especially when you've got kids and lost your business and so on. So we're looking for corporate sponsors, personal donations on our Just Giving page, corporate partners, either textile or naturist. We're welcoming both.
Right.
And then we've got Buy Us a Coffee. I think that's more of an American thing, but we set that up.
Yeah.
And I think
Just Giving.
Yeah, Just Giving page. So that's our crowdfunding page.
Okay. And then do you have any particular charities you're targeting right now to give the money to at some point? Or
Yeah, so for me, the main passion for me is Loros, which is a hospice, end of life and
Yeah.
palliative care, really. They took care of my mum when it was her time, and they supported us so well while we were while my mum was staying with them. And then again, the support they gave after my mum passed was fantastic. And they research into the best possible care. They are world class with the care they give, and they actually used as the benchmark for a lot of hospices globally.
Oh,
So they
okay.
really are at the very best that they can do, but they are privately funded. There's no money from the government or very little, which is
Okay.
fantastic.
All right.
So that's the main thing for me.
That's your main charity. Then, Jules, do you have a charity as well, or are you tagging onto that one, or how's that work?
We're going through some flow at the minute, to be honest. With we feel we might need an ocean conservation charity, but we haven't found that right one yet.
All right.
So yeah, we're just working that bit out.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. It's been great to talk to you two. We could go on all day because I'm just intrigued and enthralled with your whole story. I mean, how you found naturism, how you love just get the clothes off and let's enjoy life. And you figured it out. And then, of course, this 3,000-mile trek across the Atlantic Ocean. A lot of people, they want to walk a half a mile and they get into a panic attack. And you're going to row 3,000 miles. And I should point out, in terms of money, because we have a lot of Americans who listen to our show, about 1,000 pounds, I think, is about $1,300, and so that USA people and those in the dollar system can understand that. And best wishes to everything that you do in terms of raising the funds, in terms of everything that you're going to do to get over there. And you mentioned, obviously, they can find you on Twitter, and that's the Two Naturists, One Ocean tag. That's how they find you?
Yeah, Two Naturists is the handle, so that's nice and simple.
Okay,
yeah.
And then also strongertogether.co.uk, and the two is TWO, stronger two together. Kind of being a little cute play on words there and spelling. I love that too. And you guys are amazing, and we definitely want to get back together with you either before you go on the trip sometime, but definitely after the trip. We have to follow up and just how in the world did this go, and did you set the world record, and did every rower in the world quit because you're so good at this? That might be you just never know. We've been talking to Jules and Ian today from the UK. You've heard their story, their naturism story, as well as their upcoming rowing story. We'll put all the information in the show notes. You can give to them, whatever you can give, and support them. And let me start with Ian. Ian, thank you very much, sir. Great job today, and let's talk again soon for sure.
Thank you, Frank. It's been a pleasure meeting you and chatting with you.
Oh, you too. And Jules, same thing. Great to meet you today. Best wishes on all that you do.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Now, you mentioned you've come to Florida before. The next time you come, you got to give us a call, and we'll get together and hear all the stories and look at the pictures of your rowing story. How about that?
Brilliant.
All right. Again, Jules and Ian, both of you go out there and have a great day. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care.
An absolutely amazing couple, Jules and Ian. Check them out, strongertogether.co.uk, and the two is TWO, strongertogether.co.uk, and find them on Twitter, Two Naturists. And we wish them the best of everything in their journey across the Atlantic Ocean. So check them out. They post a picture just about every day, sometimes multiple photos. And we thank Jules and Ian for being on our show. You've been listening to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, episode 10 today. Brand new show every Saturday morning, 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Have your clothes off, dive in, the water is fine. And we thank you for being with us on Naked, Nudist, and Naturists. Well, you've been listening to Naked, Nudist, and Naturist, episode 10 today. We thank you for being with us. A brand new show every Saturday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. Eastern Time. Continue to join us. Check us out on our website, nakednudistandnaturist.com, Spotify, Google, Amazon/Audible, Apple Podcasts, and also on Twitter. You can write us anywhere, anytime, any place. And we thank you for being with us today. Plan to join us for every single one of our shows here and have your clothes off when you're listening. We have our clothes off when we're broadcasting, enjoying the naturist life.
We celebrate clothes-free living for all. Remember to enjoy being naked and join us again for Naked Nudists and Naturists.
We drop a brand new show every Saturday morning, so come back and join us. Have your clothes off when you do for Naked Nudists and Naturists. Have a great clothes-free day.